Hello there, this is Todd Miller. Me and my wife Susan own the cabin that you're staying in. Thanks for staying with us. This will be your directions up to the Pincussion Mountain Overlook, which is one of our favorite hikes because you get a good workout and it's not a very busy location. It's mostly been a favorite for locals, so we're happy to share it with you, and it can be a little hard to find, and that's why we put together these instructions. First, you'll need to drive up to the Pincussion Mountain parking lot. To do that, you'll need to leave Grand Marais and just go up to the ridge overlooking Grand Marais. So, you are on 4th Avenue West. You'll want to go one block to the west, which is 5th Avenue West, also known as the old original Gunflint Trail. So you'll go up the hill on that until you'll pass through a traffic light, and then you will come to a crossroad, which is pretty major, and that is the new Gunflint Trail. Take a left on that, and that will loop to the left and then up the hill and to the right. Once you are very near the top of the ridge, you will see an exit on the right going back towards the lake called Pincussion Road, I believe. Pull into there, park anywhere, and let's begin the presentation. On Pincussion Overlook, you'll see that the payoff is the very end. Although it's a pleasant hike all the way, the views at the end are as good as they get. It's about a 3-mile hike. There are approximately 10,000 steps, according to Susan, for those who are counting their steps. Up at the top, if you stop for a little while and maybe have a snack, that's what we like to do. It takes about an hour and a half to get up there and come back. You don't realize on the way there that much of the hike is a gradual slope downhill until you get to the very end when you go up. So on the way back, be prepared to labor a little harder on your way back. There's a variety of terrain, but the path is generally very wide, and there's lots of room. So if you're social distancing, and hopefully a time will come when this video is out of date, and that's not something we have to mention, it's not hard to do. You're not going to be crammed in with other people. Okay, let's move along. All right, I've already mentioned a lot of this. Yep, moving ahead. Here's a map. Now you'll notice this bold black line that I've drawn in. We're going to be rebellious here. We're not going to go in the direction that's recommended if you're skiing. We're going to hike counterclockwise. We're going to hike from the parking lot. If you look at that dotted line, that's our path. Beginning from the parking lot on the lower left part of the map and then going east, all across the bottom of this complex network of trails that is the Pincussion Mountain Trail System. So we're going to go from left to right, from west to east, following that dotted line. The tricks are in the beginning, making sure you stay on the trail. After that, it's pretty easy. And we're going to go up to that letter X on the far right, up on the top of the mountain. So here you are in the Pincussion Mountain parking lot. Look to the north, and you'll see that those signs there and a trail heading north into the woods. Go ahead and take that trail. Here we are again, head up the trail, and you're going to cross a bold trail here. I believe it's called the Talus Trail. It's used for skiing and such. You're going to go right across that and continue on where Susan is pointing towards a clearing. In that clearing, walk right through it. By the way, this is a fine place to let the dog run around if you think you've got him under control. Otherwise, be sure to keep him on a leash all the time. So you're going to go across this clearing and into that opening in the woods. This will be a narrow path for a little ways, several minutes, and then at the end of this narrow path, it's going to cross a larger path. Take that path to the left, as Susan is showing you. You're going to take this larger path for a ways. I don't have the exact distances, I apologize. And you're going to come to this choice. It wants you to go to the left. That's if it's winter and you're skiing. By the way, you can't hike these trails in winter. You can only ski them. So anyway, take a right here instead of going left. Here's where we get to be a little rebellious. You'll go down to the right, and it'll be this gradual slope downward. If it's been raining, it can get a little low and wet, but it's not something you can't get through. You're going to cross a series of 4 bridges that cross small creeks. I wouldn't rank these creeks as specifically scenic, but they're calming and pretty. And so, for some reason, the mystery regarding these bridges is that it's really hard to count them. We now know that there are 4 because we made this video, but we've been hiking this trail for 20 years. And every time we look at each other and say, how many bridges are there? We just can't seem to remember. They have a spell on them, I guess. Let's see, moving right along. Anyway, if you've crossed those bridges, you know you're on the right path. You can see how wide the path is, generally speaking. You'll go through a variety of woodlands and trail conditions. Again, if it's rained, you can see in that top right picture, it can get a little low. It can get lower than that, too. I didn't take all those pictures. The trail is always under good constructive maintenance. We have a great local team of people that take care of it. One thing we'll notice, and I'll mention it along the way as well, is our signs that are put up tend not to last very long. I don't know if they become souvenirs or if there are people who are very protective of these woods and simply don't want people to easily find their way to some of the locations. Hard to say. As I mentioned before, most of this hike has been a downward, easy stroll. Now, as the trail starts to rise up, you're getting close to the end of your eastward journey. So as you see it start to rise like this, you're getting close. You'll want to stay alert for a small opening on the right. Now, there's going to be a couple of them. You can see one right there in this picture, but that's not it. Get up to the top of the hill where there used to be a sign showing you that this is the exit for the Pincussion Mountain Overlook. Currently, the existing sign is about 20 feet, 30 feet in, so you can't see it from the trail. There are these nifty maps posted, but this faces the wrong way, so you won't really see it. It presumes you're coming from the direction of those arrows on the map, but you've come from the left along the bottom there. And you are now where my finger is pointing. Okay. And this is what it looks like in real life. If you look at that tree on the right, currently there's a couple things nailed to it, but you could easily miss this. But notice how the trail takes a kind of a sharp bend to the left. That's where you go to the right. And right behind where Elsa, the dog, is standing. So head on in. Just a little ways into that trail, you could veer to the right, but I believe that's now possibly closed. You don't want to do that. Go to the left. And then you might see something like this, and now you know you're getting close. There's the sign I mentioned, and you can see how the rocky path heads up to the right. You'll know you're in the right place if you're confronted with this large glacial rock. This is slippery when it's rainy or dewy in the morning, and certainly when it's icy. When it's icy, you may have to go up on all fours to get up there. But otherwise, this is the toughest part of the trip right here, and it's not that tough. Along the way, you will see these vintage old white sprayed on wayfinding blocks. There's not much left of them, but if you see them, you'll know you're on the right path. Here's a little boardwalk, and you'll see behind Susan one of those little white blocks painted on the rock. All right, are you ready? We're going to start seeing some of these great views. You're going to open up. The view's going to open up as you approach here to this carved rock dome, which is a Pincussion Mountain Overlook. This is just the beginning of it. Once you're up there, there's plenty to look at and admire. On this particular day, we could see as far as Isle Royale. I zoomed in the upper right picture, and that's Isle Royale. That's 40 miles away. Isle Royale belongs to Michigan. Anyway, that's another story. Great place to get your picture taken. We've led groups up here of 20, 30 family members. Great place for a photograph on a beautiful day. Let's see. You can see the evidence of the glacial scoring on the ground. One thing I really like about this area is the prevalence of jack pines. You don't see those very often. I don't know everything there is to know about jack pines, but my understanding is they require a fire to germinate. I don't know if that's true, but up on this rocky dome, you will have these little I guess I call them tableaus of boreal microecologies living in the cracks, and they look the same every year. They're stunted due to their harsh setting, so they're a natural bonsai, and I just love looking at them, and I'm very thankful that they haven't been tampered with. So enjoy that. When you look around, you'll see the changes in types of trees. And on the picture on the left, I didn't get a very good picture of it, but if you look through the jack pine, you'll see a little clearing in the woods. That's our treasured Lakeview Dairy. And again, when social distancing is over, feel free to take a trip up there. And you can buy raw, fresh milk, cheese, and peanut butter cookies. So hope you enjoyed this little tutorial. Make sure that when you're on your way back that you are careful about your choices. Make sure you find your way back, but don't worry too much, because as you get towards the end where it might get confusing, most of the roads all lead back to the parking lot anyway. So have a safe hike, and if you have any questions, feel free to track us down with the contact information available in your cabin. This is Todd Miller. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great trip.